Trump pardons notorious drug traffickers and claims it's all about justice reform.
Russia tests mega missile, but it crashes on takeoff, yet they still insist it's a strategic deterrent. When your intimidation tactic resembles a bottle rocket flop, maybe it's time to rethink your global threat strategy.
Machine Head kicks off tour as a trio, and fans call it a power move. When life hands you a missing guitarist, just turn up the volume and call it artistic minimalism.
Only 12% of singles use Facebook dating, and Zuckerberg calls it the future of love. When your love life is run by algorithms, it's less happily ever after, and more terms and conditions apply.
Trump pardons notorious drug lord, claiming it promotes peace in a world where contradiction is the only consistency. When your moral compass spins like Trump's revolving door of justice, you might as well call it performance art.
Only 20% of researchers publish and patent, and the study calls it a breakthrough. In a world where multitasking is king, these scientists juggle knowledge like circus performers while the rest just watch the show.
Oil steadies while Trump eyes Venezuela, ignoring Black Sea terminal chaos. Like a cat with a laser pointer, the market chases chaos, while the planet burns and the oil keeps flowing.
Japan's bond sale demand tops 12-month average, defying rate hike fears. Apparently, investors are as committed to government debt as a cat to a sunbeam, no matter the looming shadows.
Courts scrap jury trials for crimes under 3-year sentences. Justice now comes with a side of efficiency, as the courts decide that your fate can be sealed faster than a drive-through order.
In a classic game of Who's the Boss, the RSF and the army bicker over Bermuda like it's the last slice of pizza at a family dinner.
EU Council passes chat control 2.0 causes safety.
Investigators seek tips after 4 killed at birthday party, then the NRA shrugs. When a child celebration turns into a crime scene, the real tragedy is a nation that values gun rights over children's lives.
Putin threatens Europe with war, then claims it's their move. When the man with the biggest arsenal starts playing chess with threats, it's not about strategy, it's about ego and artillery envy.
Pope Leo tours Istanbul's Blue Mosque, and the Vatican spins it as progress. A photo op in a 6th century old mosque is a lovely gesture, but it won't patch the schism or the roof.
Spotify plays Hit 200, and the band calls it a revolution. Every indie dream starts with a whisper, but it takes a stadium of screams to keep the lights on.
Kazakhstan demands Ukraine halt attacks on oil terminal as profits drip through its fingers. When oil and politics mix, it's a slippery slope to who really holds the power. Spoiler, it's not the environment.
Federal court dismisses Bruce Lehrmann's defamation appeal, and he knew Brittany Higgins didn't consent. When even the court sees through your spin, it's time to retire from the courtroom drama and face the music.
Irving Berlin's I Want to Go Back to Michigan hits the nostalgia button hard, yet the state still leads in residents wanting to leave. Because when your anthem's about going back, but your reality's about getting out, it's the ultimate vaudeville plot twist.
Wall Street welcomes Zendesk CEO, stocks plunge 12%. Inviting a tech CEO to talk stability is like asking the fox to guard the henhouse, expect feathers and financial chaos.
Because in the world of geopolitical ghost stories, nothing says victory like a battle fought entirely in the realm of imagination.
Cyber Monday flaunts 321 deals, promises best of 2025. When consumerism turns into an Olympic sport, the winners are always the ones selling the tickets.
University of California. Irvine discovers new quantum matter, promises space tech revolution. When science meets science fiction, we're left wondering if warp drives or just more buffering are on the horizon.
Google tracks over 90% of your data, then sells it back to you as personalized experience. Because who wouldn't want their dance party playlist to double as a data minefield, ensuring every beat comes with a side of surveillance capitalism?
Pope Leo demands two-state solution for Israel-Palestine, preaches peace from 20,000 feet. When your prayers are aimed at politicians, it's best to have a parachute ready for the fall from their promises.
Only 20% of content creators profit, and free websites claim to be the solution. Because nothing screams creative independence like relying on free tools that transform your art into a never-ending quest for ad clicks and algorithm appeasement.
Sri Lankan government reports Cyclone Ditwa death toll at 334, claims swift recovery. When nature's fury meets human frailty, the only thing slower than disaster relief is the government's ability to count with compassion.
Bego launches food recycler at $59, solves zero food waste. Because who needs a compost pile when you can have a countertop gadget that turns your leftovers into guilt-free eco points for the price of dinner for two?
When your corporate apple cart gets upset in Europe, it's less about innovation and more about dodging the rotten fruits of accountability.
Only 8% of Americans changed addresses, and the moving industry calls it progress.
Only 14% of Strategy's stockholders trust its vision, and CEO calls it a market correction. When your strategy involves convincing investors that selling is smart, maybe it's time to rethink the whole trust us with your money angle.
While the world marvels at art's divine accidents, remember, even in the sky, gravity never takes a holiday.
Only 9% of global leaders address climate disasters and the rest call it a local issue. When hundreds drown under rising tides, the high and mighty sip their lattes pretending the world isn't sinking.
Trump closes Venezuelan airspace entirely because nothing says diplomatic finesse like slamming the door on your neighbor's skies. It's like grounding a teenager for sneaking out, except this time the stakes are international and involve less eye-rolling.
Steve Bannon orchestrated Epstein's PR resurrection, and the silence is deafening. When the puppet master and the predator join forces, you'd think there'd be more than just whispers in the wind.
Trump declares Venezuelan airspace closed because who needs diplomacy when you can just play air traffic controller? It's like a toddler claiming a sandbox, except this sandbox has international implications and no one brought a shovel.
Only 90% of new music releases vanish into the ether, and the industry calls it exposure. In a world where everyone's a star, the real challenge is getting anyone to look up from their screens long enough to notice.
Sharpshooter hits 27 targets in 7.53 seconds, then does it again. When life gives you targets, some folks just make confetti. Precision isn't just for surgeons, folks.
New York Islanders hire Palmieri Tio then strip pop versus gold. When your knee gets out but your spirit doesn't, you're redefining hustle with a side of stubborn defiance.
Crypto crash erases nearly $1 billion in leveraged bets. Gamblers call it market research. When your financial strategy is more volatile than a toddler's tantrum, it's time to rethink your definition of investment.
Valve admits Steam machines 8 GB graphics RAM could limit 4K gaming, but promises fun at lower resolutions.
Saffron opens world's largest LEAP engine Morrow in India. Boosts Make in India claims.
Georgian authorities sprayed WWI-era chemical on protesters, claiming it's just old-fashioned crowd control. When your protest suppression strategy is straight out of a history book, maybe it's time to update your tactics, not your weapons.
Human lineage survives in Argentina for 85 centuries, defying extinction. Turns out, humanity's got more staying power than a cockroach at a nuclear rave, proving resilience isn't just a survival trait, it's a legacy.
White House doctor releases Trump's MRI results, claiming the scans reveal nothing unusual, which might be the most transparent thing in his career.
US Customs denies Canadian entry over decade-old incident, calls it routine procedure. When your past haunts you more than your ex, you know border control's got a memory longer than an elephant on a grudge bender.
Sorbitol sweetener, hailed as a zero-calorie miracle, now linked to liver disease, proving once again that free comes at a cost. Looks like the price of guilt-free candy is a free ride to the hepatologist. Sweet deal, huh?
Even the cops can't believe when corporate bigwigs get shot at. But sometimes the improbable tip turns into a bulletproof lead.
Fox News anchor Pete Hegseth becomes Secretary of Defense despite his love affair with the sound of war drums. Apparently, experience in military analysis on cable news now qualifies you to manage the world's largest defense budget. Who knew?
Finally, a financial system that admits it's been robbing us blind. But hey, better late than never to confess your sins, right?